Happy New Year, everybody. Blaise Bollman here from Twinspires, kicking off our racing roundtable for 2024. I'm joined by our esteemed analyst and writers from Twinspires and Brisnet, James Scully, and good old Vance Hanson in the lovely confines of the Brisnet library there. We're covering a few topics looking back from the racing over the weekend. The first will be what did we learn from the Smarty Jones that just happened yesterday from Oakland Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Secondly, we will cover everything from Pegasus Preview Day out at Gulfstream Park. And lastly will be our 2024 betting resolutions for this coming year that we hope to carry out. We probably won't, but you know what? We feel like sharing them. So we'll kick it off first. I will go to James for the Smarty Jones takeaways. Go for it, James.
Well, Catching Freedom rallied to win convincingly in the Smarty Jones on Monday, and he looked good visually doing so. And to me, the real thing with Catching Freedom, I was impressed with his improvement upon his allowance race at Churchill Downs. He was exiting a fourth place effort to Parchment Party. I think an argument could be made that might have been one of the toughest 2-year-old allowance races of 2023. Parchment Party was bet down to 35-1. He was the sixth choice among individual interests in Pool 2 of the Kentucky Derby Future Wager. So I was glad to see Catching Freedom improve upon that trouble effort like he did, win convincingly, and we'll see if he can improve his speed ratings moving forward. What did you think of the Smarty Jones, Vance?
Well, I'll preface my remarks by saying the Smarty Jones traditionally is not a very strong prep doesn't have a whole lot of influence on either the Kentucky Derby or the 3-year-old championship picture later in the year. You have to go back like 10 years to Will Take Charge, who emerged from the race. And he ran off the board in all 3 Triple Crown races, but still wound up as a champion 3-year-old. With that said, I'd echo a lot of what you said about Catching Freedom. I thought the performance was a good one, not a great one, but a very good one and an improvement off that troubled trip in that Churchill allowance, as you alluded to. He still showed some greenness in the stretch in the Smarty Jones, top of the stretch all the way to the time that he was moving past horses. But he was very impressive, I think, in the end. I don't know what he was beating in that race, so he's going to have to step up and improve off of that performance, but he certainly has the scope to do so. Distance going forward certainly doesn't look like it's going to be an issue with him. It's basically going to be all about the trip that he gets in future races, and with a horse like this, Brad Cox has got a lot of options here. The horse is based at Fairgrounds. They've got a long distance series of races coming up with increasing distances. He can go back to Oakland, running races like the Southwest and Rebel. So a lot of options for Catching Freedom, and we'll see how much he advances going forward, Blaise.
Yeah, thanks, Vance. And just to touch on the greenness, I agree with you 100%. Catching Freedom really showed a lot of that, just as he did his last time out at Churchill Downs. This was his 3rd race. Christian Torres did a great job with that ride, patiently waited and knew when to make that move, switch off the lead and come home. Will take note that this race, the Smarty Jones, was run at 1 1/16. Traditionally, it used to be run at 1 mile. If this race was 1 mile, Just Steel, in my opinion, would have won. And yes, the horse can go longer in distance, but we will see. This 3-year-old son of Constitution, Windstar Stallion there, it really reminds me somewhat of Cyberknife, being green, kind of being silly down the lane, looking around, his head up, and really needs to be asked to do something. So those are my thoughts on the greenness. Again, distance was not a problem. I do see him probably going back to Fairgrounds, as Vance, you alluded to. He's based there. So something, to look forward to. One thing I will say, going back to the start of that race, the other Constitution colt, Gettysburg Address, put a line through this race. I think this horse has a great opportunity next time out. Definitely worth a watch. I mean, he was squeezed there at the beginning and just lost all chances, in my opinion. So, again, Gettysburg Address, take a look next time. Worth a shot in your exotics or even for a win bet. So yeah, again, I just think horse is green, but definitely good to go. All right, moving on to it.
I'll agree with that real quick, Blaise. And it's amazing how many horses. I mean, Cox really has the 3-year-old brigade lining up. It'll be interesting to see where he sends those. And Gettysburg Address, you're right. He absolutely got clobbered at the start. So, you look at Constitution, that WinStar sire, he has those two in that race, and Parchment Party's at Constitution. So he's got some Kentucky Derby prospects to watch.
Yeah. So you're telling me a stallion wager next time out if we get that pool, Constitution?
Well, it's already passed the lone sire wager pool, but yeah, he would have been a good one to have for sure.
All right. Well, side bet in the office. All right, cool. So yeah, moving on to our second topic, we'll get into the Gulfstream Park coverage that happened over the weekend. I will preface this segment. We do not have the rights to show the Gulfstream Park racing. Touche. I know how it is here at CDI. So we got you, Gulfstream, Monarch Group. But we will dig into the Pegasus World Cup preview day that was just last Saturday out there at Hallandale Beach, Florida, at Gulfstream Park. And I will, I'm just going to say a couple quick things. Andy Sterling, I thought, had a great take on social media. Why not we just call this the Dawn again? When we see horses like National Treasure potentially going to the Pegasus World Cup, and some of the other names I'm looking in there, Skippy Longstocking, maybe some Rattle and Roll. I'm drawing a blank on the others, but invitations do come out tomorrow morning, if I'm not mistaken. So we will just go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about what happened over Saturday. So James, I'm going to go to you first. You want to cover the dirt?
Yes. I'll give O'Connor credit for gutting out that win. He rallied up the inside to gamely deny Grand Avenue for Pletcher, who, is definitely an encouraging stakes performance by that older horse as well. But it looks like the top three will all be coming back for the Pegasus World Cup, and O'Connor will probably get a little bit off of back-to-back graded stakes wins. But I do think the competition will get a lot tougher for those horses that were in the Harlan's Holiday. You referenced National Treasure. You're going to have Trademark and Ilmir Colo, who ran first and third in the Grade 2 Clark last out. You're going to have Krupe coming in off back-to-back stakes wins. And, of course, the elephant in the room in any Pegasus World Cup discussion is White Barrio. He is nominated to it, and he's listed as possible. He has 2 works back at Santa Anita for Rick Dutro. And Dutro had mentioned targeting the Saudi Cup as his seasonal debut in February, but there's still a chance that he could opt for the Pegasus with 2 works already underneath his belt. So he'd be the horse to show up. But even if he doesn't come, I do think National Treasure, Trademark, Krupe, and others, I think that those horses might be a little bit better than O'Connor and the horses we saw Saturday in the Harlan's Holiday, Vance.
Yeah, I'll touch on the Pegasus World Cup turf here. I think the horse to beat later this month in that race is probably Shug McGee. He's now 4-year-old Integration, who is perfect so far. He did not compete in the prep race last Saturday, the Fort Lauderdale Stakes. The one horse I would take out of that race to consider in the Pegasus World Cup turf was the runner-up King Max, who ran a really good race. I had a small win bet on him. Unfortunately, he lost to Head Bob at 17-1. But I thought King Max ran pretty well in that race. I thought jockey David Egan, who's wintering in Florida from his England base, rode a pretty good race. I thought he maybe got the horse rolling a little bit too late to catch main event there. But I thought it was a very encouraging effort by King Max. It was his first race since late July. He had just in his last race, he had run on a synthetic track at Woodbine in the Seagram Cup, placed there. But then before that, he was 2 for 2 in allowance races over here. And in his races in England, where he was based early in his career, he wasn't very competitive against some very difficult horses like Desert Crown and such, but he did place in a group stakes at Royal Ascot. So he's a horse that has had shown a little bit of quality early in his career, and now I think he's building up to possibly having a breakout season this year. So King Max, second time off the layoff, going into the Pegasus World Cup turf later this month, assuming he's invited and participates. I think he might be the horse to take out of last weekend's action, Blaise.
Cool. All right. Great insight there on the turf. Runners, Vance, thank you. Just a couple quick thoughts for me. Again, I didn't watch too much of the racing Saturday from Gulfstream. I was focused elsewhere. But, looking back at the replay, and I'll get in touch on that in my resolutions, O'Connor really showed some grit. He came down that rail. I know Safi believes that he has the stamina. He definitely has the determination, as he showed that winning the Harlan's Holiday. But I believe James, you said all top three are going to be invited.
That's yes, all
Okay.
the top three, and they were all real close at the wire too.
Yeah. And on that note, Safi's third place finisher, his other one, New York Traffic. Javier did tell Safi, per Safi's quote, that he believes that New York Traffic saw something and that distracted him. So, I'm not gonna say put a line through it, but he has an excuse, New York Traffic. So it'd be nice to see that horse come back. I will make a note that, we look back at the last 5 winners of the Pegasus World Cup. These horses had 30 or more days layoff coming in. Again, we're not seeing the big names like we saw Arrowgate, California Chrome, Keen Ice, War Story, Gun Runner, a few. I'm thinking Audible, City of Light. Some really, really great horses. I know there's more bigger $1 million races, multi-million-dollar races going on. So it'd be nice to see a White Barrio show up coming out from Santa Anita. But again, over these years, it's losing that luster, what it used to be. 2014, I believe, was inaugural. Sorry, guys, if I'm drawing a blank, but it's just, I don't know. It's not the Pegasus World Cup this year to me, but I hope to see White Barrio. All right, enough of that from me. All right, moving on to our third topic. We are going to get into our 2024 betting resolutions. And I'm going to look around here. I'm going to go with you, Vance, first.
Well, one of the bright spots of my betting in the last couple of years has been my wagering on English racing, which readers of mine at the TwinSpires Edge blog will know that I concentrate on that quite a bit during the turf flat season over there. And I'm happy to report that I've accomplished a flat bet profit on my win wagers on English racing over the last couple of years, and had a decent year. I lost a little bit of the profit late in this past year, but I still finished with a profit. So my resolution going into the 2024 English flat season is to increase the size of my wagers. Start with a higher betting capital and see if I can pump up that profit even more for 2024. So I think that's just a basic piece of advice for all horse players: is find your niche, find what you're good at, and exploit those opportunities a lot more, and try to scale back or make fewer errors and mistakes in your other wagering plans. So that's my resolution this year, is to be a lot more aggressive at the betting windows, starting with the higher capital for my English racing. How about you, James?
Yeah, I like that. Find your niche, your strength, and go after it. That's definitely a one way to look at your betting mine is, I'm going to point out a weakness of mine. I mean, obviously, cashing more tickets is everybody's betting resolution for the new year, but I'm just a more disciplined approach to wagering. It's got to be. I'm going to mention one facet is these big days, like big racing days. A good example in 2023 for me was the Belmont Stakes Day. I put a lot of work into handicapping those programs, but I still need to be more willing to pick my spots and sit back if I don't have a strong opinion, because we'll just see these big racing days. The Belmont Stakes Day was a good example. We had 5 prohibitive big favorites in a row win. And there was just, I took on a couple of those, and, I didn't really have the conviction, but I was just wanting to play. So a more disciplined approach to my wagering in 2024 is my goal. Blaise, what is your betting resolution for the new year?
I'm glad you brought up the D word, discipline. That's something I need to definitely take into consideration and hopefully practice, because sometimes I just get rocking and rolling, and I'll just start betting favorites, and I'll jump around from track to track on the TwinSpires app, whether it's harness, whether it's some late night thoroughbred into Losal, into Australia, into Korea. So a little bit more discipline and not just, pissing through my winnings so fast. So that's one of them, but I got a few here, and I'll make these quick. One of them is being a TwinSpires and CDI employee. I am going to try to get off of these buyer speed figures. I've grown up on the West Coast, came out here a few years ago, and they've always been the Bible to me. It's what it says in the DRF. I'm a Formulator subscriber. I use Daily Racing Form, but I need to get more into the brisnet product. So I'm going to make that one of my resolutions, because all I hear and hear from, whether it's Jeremy, Ashley, yourself, James, or, reading your stuff, Vance and Kelly, the last out speed figure, the early pace ratings, it's blah, blah, blah. And I need to get a little bit better with that, because I'm kind of hard-headed in what I've been doing with the buyer stuff. So I'm going to get a little bit more into that brisnet. That's a biggie. And watching more replays, sometimes just because we follow racing all the time doesn't mean we know what happened and what's in those running lines is actually true. There's something deeper in there. And I know a lot of people like Joe Christofek, Emily Gullickson, and others, Benny South Street, with their trip notes and trip notes this, trip notes that. And, it is something I think that's worthy, that, we try to make our own trip notes. You might not be the best at it, but at least give it a shot. And then lastly, I just want to close out to everybody with 2024, being the head of brand marketing here at Twinspires. I just want to reassure everybody out there that this year is going to be great for all Twinspires and existing customers and new people. We strive every day we come in here, and it's going to be even more of a precedent that is set this year here in the CDI building. And we want to be the undeniable leader in parimutuel wagering. We have a product team that comes in every day that tries to make great experiences for our customers, whether at Brisnet, whether here at Twinspires. And it's something, we want to let everyone know. I personally want to let everyone know, have trust in us. We're not going to try to sell you some other type of betting product out there, whether it's casino or sports wagering. Yes, we have those at our properties, but here at Twinspires, we're doing nothing but growing the game of horse racing. Here in Kentucky, we got horses on our license plates. We got horses everywhere. It's in the genetics of this company, and that is not going away. This is the home of horse racing, Kentucky, the epicenter, I'll call it, and it's not going away. So I would just want to reassure everybody out there that if you're not a customer or player with us, come join us. You want some help. I'll say my DMs are open on social media. You can get me at blaise.bollman@twinspires.com. I'm sure you could hit up James out there. We're here to help you. So any questions out there, feel free to hit us up, and just know that Twinspires is here for the horse player. We are the home of the horse player, and we will be the undeniable leader in parimutuel wagering come 2024. All right, I'm going to get off my diatribe. Anything else, closing statements? Any personal resolutions out there, James, Vance? Eating healthy, anything, exercise?
I'm always going to be on the exercise in the new year. So I liked it. Great job, Blaise.
Cool. Yeah, you're always on the muscle, Vance. I look forward to your, what do we got coming up for the flat season?
Well, they do have winter racing over in England, but it's something I don't really follow on the synthetic. So
the synthetic
we'll wait till after the Grand National in early April and hit it hard with the Guineas trials in mid-April at Newmarket and Newbury. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and definitely be on the lookout for the Twinspires jury. That'll come out Thursday. We'll give our best bets, fades, and everything else to watch. Thanks again, and have a great 2024.